And I am so excited. Always start my coaching sessions with a bit of music for those that are joining. I am always playing some music. Julie, good evening. Thank you for joining us. So we're live in the group. Perfect. So thank you everybody for joining us. I am beyond grateful to Cheryl, to Sarah, to Crystal, to Julie joining me in Zoom, and people that are joining on live in Living Your Inspired Life. Everybody jump on, say hi. Can't wait to see you all. It's going to be brilliant as I get myself set up. I have been working very, very hard on this content, and I am excited to deliver it and to share a little bit about where I've come from and what I'm doing. So that's what this masterclass is. I have got a brilliant team that are supporting me through no end whatsoever. And I'm beyond excited to share what I've been working on. So thank you to everyone. We might get started. I will try and keep this to half an hour, but I am in Melbourne and I've been in lockdown for a little while. So I do enjoy a chat. Because I feel like I've forgotten to speak to people. So I will try and keep it to 30. But Sarah, you've worked with me a little while and you know that I go a little bit over. Oh, hi, Rhiannon. Hello, sweetheart. So thanks everyone for joining me. Like I said, my name is Claire and I am a breaking up with being busy expert. I help women break up with being busy so that we become present mums, okay, and really passionate partners. And I've really added that as a last little addition over the last few weeks because it resonates with so much with me, and it's more than just, you know, the intimacy side. I think if we become passionate partners, there's so much. I'm going to explain a little bit about that this week as we chat. So thank you again. I am overcoming my fear of success, which I'll speak about next week, and I'm bearing bright colors. So thank you everybody for joining me. Feel free to type in the chat. This is as much as interactive as I would love it to be. You get out what you put in, or you put in what you get out. So I would love for you to see and join us. Tonight's session is an overview of what this week has, the goodies that I've got lined up, and a little teaser is what's coming tomorrow night. So we might get started as well. So thank you, everybody. Ignite your self-belief is, for me, a foundation part. So if you've been in my group, Living Your Inspired Life, for a little while, we used to call it Unstoppable, and it was over 3 days. But I've leveled up, I've learned a lot more, I've grown, and I've expanded it to now being 9 days, and I'm calling it Ignite Your Self-Belief. And it comes from a place, for me, being a working mum, in my own business, in our own traditional business, and I have 2 very busy boys, that I've lost myself. And I feel resentful, and I feel like I'm invisible, and I feel like I'm not seen, and I feel like I'm not heard. So I can't be the only one that feels like this. So if this is resonating with you so far, please let me know in the chat. I'm coming through from Zoom, so I'm not going to be able to see it on Facebook. I'll come back and give you some love later. But this is what it is. We need a village when we raise our kids, but at some point, that village we forget about the village supporting us, and we don't need the help. So that is where this is coming from. This is a village, as a soul circle for you to immerse yourself in. There's no chances that are going to come along like this to support you, and this is what it is. So it is an incredible opportunity. Incredible. Thank you, Cheryl. It's going to be so much fun. I am so excited. So it's going to run over 9 days. So we're going to have a mashup of intensive training sessions such as this. I'm going to bring in my beautiful mentor, and she's going to interview us, or me, and I'm going to share a little bit, and it's going to get a little bit vulnerable, and I'm going to share some things I probably haven't said before. Then on Friday, I have a gift giveaway. I am giving someone $500 off joining me. If I'm your person, if I'm speaking your language, $500 off, and I'm going to draw that prize on Friday. So super offer. I'm not going to let any more details out about that, but it is going to be epic. And then we're going to come in with some Q&As next week and a total wrap up. And I'm super excited. So what I believe this is all about, it's interaction. And I have a passion, and I hope you guys can feel it through the screen, because I have come from a corporate environment. I've come from a European upbringing. So I am strong and I am determined. It's in my blood But there are some legacies that have been handed that I think we need to break up with. And that's what I'm essentially helping women to do. We can't forge ahead. We can't be who we want to be. We can't visualize the person in front of us. Okay. And we can't get closer to her because we're so held back by other people's fears and judgments. So last week I spoke in a live, we were at the groceries and we didn't grab the basket, right? Because we only needed a few things. But in here, we've got people's judgments, people's fears, people's opinions, our own self-doubts. So if our arms are full carrying it, how can we possibly have any more space for us? You know, we need to start releasing it. We need to start ripping it off. And that's what these 9 days are going to give you a taste of, because the clients that I've worked with in my 6-week course have done that. They are breaking through these barriers because we've immersed each other together. Okay, so what I want to also to know is if you've got your workbooks with you as well, let me know in the comments if you're on Facebook and if you're on the Zoom. If you don't have the workbook link, I can make sure I can get the team to send it. This is going to be really important. Use this for notes. I'm going to reference some questions tonight and the whole way through this 9 days, and I really want you to make this as notes. So really, really think about, this is an investment of your time for 30 minutes over the 9 days coming up. What can you do? Now, the worst case scenario is you stay exactly where we are now. That is the worst thing that is going to happen over the next 9 days. Nothing will change. You won't probably resonate, and that's okay, because I don't resonate with some coaches too. But what if you hear a word, or what if you hear a feeling, or you feel a passion and you go, gosh, I'm exactly like that. That's me. What would that do for you in 6 months, 2 years? Okay. Yes, Sarah, take notes. You know what I'm like. And I ramble. I make this up as I go along. I don't plan what comes out. But really, really think about where you are now. You've come into this container. You've come into our soul circle we've created for a reason. There was something that etched in you that you felt like you needed help. But as mums and as busy women, we don't ask for help. We're too proud. I am the biggest person for that. And then I get angry because no one else helps me, but I haven't told anyone. This is your help container. Okay, speak out, be brave. Bravery over confidence. You're going to hear this mantra a lot. Be brave. Because what's on the other side, and I can promise you, I've been through this journey. I know what's there. I know what it can do. And I know how hard it is to think about other people's judgments, but it's going to be amazing. So let's kick off. For those that are brand new to Living Your Inspired Life to Claire Burt, then welcome. This is me in my rawest form. Okay, this is me. I am a bundle of energy. I have to be, because I'm a mum of 2 boys. They are almost 10 and almost 6. My background is corporate finance. I was a corporate finance manager for 20 years. I have managed multiple teams, multiple countries, and I left that life behind because I burnt out. I was the world's #1 people pleaser. I had a massive fear of disappointment, and all I wanted was the gold star. That was me in a nutshell. I could not say no. I never agreed to putting myself first. I never wanted that at all, but I craved it. I craved the attention. I craved affection, but I was not giving it out. So 2 years ago, my husband and I started our own signage biz because he's a wonderfully creative person and I'm totally analytical. Give me a spreadsheet. Got your formulas all down. Get me to draw pictures. I kind of suck every time. So we are complete opposites, but we match. So I needed to make a decision for the benefit of my family, for myself, that I needed to support them. It was time for me not to be the alpha anymore. And ladies, if anyone is in the comments, pop a hand up if you feel that you're the alpha and it's really demanding. You somehow feel hunched over and you feel like you got the weight of the world on your shoulders. You're fighting fires everywhere. You're problem solving everywhere. Yet no one's here to help you. No one's here to make you coffee. That's how I feel. That's how I felt. I felt I was giving, and no one asked me if I wanted coffee. And that's what I was living off, basically coffee. So I got quite ill and I left that world, and it has been the best 2 years of my life. This year, coming through, so I'm from Melbourne, and we have been through a tough 2 years, I'm going to say. I'm not even going to call it 18 months anymore. It's 2 years. We're coming through a really tough time. And I'm here and I'm smiling and I'm bubbly because this is my way of giving back. I think as women and as mums, we always want to feel like we're making a difference, yet we doubt ourselves so much that we are. This is how I give back. Sometimes it's difficult. We don't have the cash flow to do that, but money and time. Okay, time can sometimes be much more worth than money. So this is how I give back. I welcome beautiful women into my life, into my circle, and I share the nuts craziness that I am. And the relatability is one of my morals. It's one of my brand pillars. Everything I speak and I say comes from experience. Everything I share has happened to me. I haven't learned it in a book. I've experienced it. So I hope that that is something that sets me apart from other people you may have heard from before. I am 39, so I am relatively young, but I have a world of experience on my shoulders. Okay. Yeah, Cheryl, it's true. You are always there for everybody else. It's true. And then as the kids get bigger, little kids, little problems. Someone always said, little kids, little problems, bigger kids, bigger problems. But we need to start making time for us. Okay, it's not going to get any easier, so we need to be strong. And that is the inspiration and impact I'm giving, is to show women that it is possible, that you can run 2 businesses, have kids, be in lockdown for God knows how many weeks, days, months, and still be able to say, you know what, no, that's not for me anymore. And I actually don't care if you don't think it's a good idea. I'm going to do it anyway. There's only one person I listen to in this entire world, and it is my husband. It's taken him. Don't tell him. For anyone that knows, don't tell him I listen to him. But it's true. Okay, he's the only person that really tells me to pull my head in, because I can get a little bit flustered because I have too much energy. I get it out of my boys as well. So I really want you to think about that. What have you got to give? And what is your passion? What have you put back? Do you enjoy taking photos? Imagine if you could start a little hustle about photography and open up a gallery, open up an exhibition and give back to people. That's as easy as this is. That's what I'm hoping to give back to women. I'm hoping that women take back their time and they invest that into themselves like they've never invested before. That's what Ignite Your Self-Belief is totally about. Okay, because we're not here to miss out anymore. I was there. I missed out. If you've called my emails over the last few weeks, there was a couple of turning points, and one of them was when my eldest was awarded his class captain badge, and he nervously, anxiously came up, and it was like, Mum, if you've got time, could you please come? He was 8. That is not something an 8-year-old should ever have to worry about. He should always be able to be confident and just say, yes, your mum, can you come? Yes. And then it's up to me. So that was the turning point where I knew I had my pillars in the wrong box. So my totem pole was completely wrong. I had always put work above everybody else, and my family was underneath. So in the last couple of years, I've done a lot of work. I've had to reset my mind. I have high functioning anxiety, believe it or not, and I'm an introvert. I'm an extroverted introvert. Okay, it takes me a little while to open up to people, but once you're my people, you're amazing, and I give back in tons and tons of ways. But it's really about us learning where our totem pole fits. Okay, because if we have it out of alignment, then we're going to never get over that resentment and that guilt that we constantly carry. We've inherited generations of guilt. Okay, we've gone to school, we've got an education, we've got a job, and we raised a family. That was how I was brought up. We didn't have another option. There was no go do whatever you want to do. It was just, that was the steps you had to follow. And I'm here to tell busy women, taking time for yourself is not selfish. Your partner will thank you for it. Trust me. Trust me. You're going to have more experiences with your family. Your kids are going to enjoy having time with you. It's not just going to be barking orders like we chat now. I'm raising emotionally intelligent young men because I know what that is lacking in previous generations. That's how important all of this work is. So my hope for you is that you learn one thing, that you stick through these 9 days. There is little pockets that I've planted deliberately in each and every one of these days. Okay, on top of that, I've got a beautiful gift to give away on day 4. I've got my prize being drawn on day 5, and then I'm hosting so many open questions. And this is really your chance to absorb the information for the first 7 days and come in on your 8th day with all your questions, fire them at me, and let's see where we're at. but it's about a learning experience and it's not overwhelming. I've always seemed to get that, oh, what is she going to make me do? Now, I'm not going to have anyone come on screen. I'm not going to have anyone chat at all. It's all me in my colorful shirts, I promise you. But the more you put in, the more you're going to get out. And that is what I have. So as long as you're armed with your workbook and as long as you are armed with 2 ears, I am grateful and you're going to learn so much. All right. So I want to kick off. Already been chatting for 15 minutes. See what happens. Let me know in the comments how we're feeling. Is anyone scared off yet? Have I scared anyone off at the moment? Hope not, because this is going to be awesome. This is the passion that comes through. For 20 years, I motivated people that didn't want to work, that didn't want to be at work. I now get to motivate people for fun. This is awesome. So the first thing I'm going to talk to you about is if you open up your workbooks, the questions will always be there. Okay, and the first question I want to ask you, and I want you to think about your responses. And as you're thinking of these responses, I don't want you to judge yourself. I want you just to write what comes up. No judgment, no feelings, nothing, just write. So this question is, what would your life look like if you could step away from the people pleasing and your habits around people pleasing? Imagine being able to step into your true self. What would that feel like to you? So for me, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I hope I'm a Disney princess, but it's not going to happen, right? I'm 5 foot. I'm actually quite short to anyone, to everybody. And I'm the only girl in this house. I'm surrounded by boys. But what I do know from the bottom of my heart, concrete, set in stone, is I know where I don't want to be and I know what I don't want to feel. So I know that when the resentment and that anxiety and that frustration builds, I immediately get triggered to 2 years before. And I immediately go back to the place in corporate where I was sleeping 4 hours a night. I missed putting my kids to bed. I didn't do story time. I was logistics manager of getting my mum to do pickup, my dad to do this, my husband to do this, just so that I could sit at 3 a.m. on a call. I wasn't compensated for it. I was traveling internationally. I missed out. So that is where I don't want to be anymore. So everything that I do, and I'm going to fail more than I'm successful. Okay. I'm human, but every time I fall down, I get back up and I go, that was a learning experience. So I know that everything that I'm doing now is for the future version of me. We're going to chat a bit about this tomorrow's class, about really visualizing what she is. All right. And I want you to think of not so much looks, and I don't want you to think of yourself as, oh, in 5 years' time, I'm going to lose so much weight. That's crap. That's not going to happen. I want you to think about what colors is she around? Is she happy? What does her body shape is? Is she hunched over like we are now, or is she standing all taller with a straighter back? Okay. Is she actively listening to her circle? Has she chosen and handpicked her inner circle? Or is she just collecting people because I'm foggy? That's tomorrow's class. We're going to start thinking about that. But know what you don't want to feel. We don't want to have this stress. We don't want to have the chaos. We don't want to have the fighting the fires all the time. Because while we're busy giving 10% to everything, we are missing so much, so much. My kids were in childcare for 3 or 4 days a week. There were so many moments I missed. We were chatting about this the other day, actually yesterday, that I know the exact time my first son was born, 3:41, guaranteed, straight off the top of my head. I actually have to think about the time that my second son was born, because that's when it all just started to get a bit foggy. All right. So really think about what you don't want to miss out on. What don't you want to feel anymore? The stress, the anxiety, the resentment. You don't want to blend in. We want to be stand up. We want to be heard, but we don't want to keep nagging you to see us. Yeah. We want to say I'm proud. That is what this is about. Okay. So if when we step away from the people pleasing, when we get brave, and to my clients who have worked with me before, boundaries, you guys love, drop it in the comments. You know, I'm big on boundaries. These are huge. Once you set concrete boundaries that are so aligned with just who you are, nothing stops your way. You learn to communicate a little bit better and your language style gets better. So instead of just barking stuff, it comes in a luxurious, rich form. Your word and your language, your posture, people take notice. and they go, oh, maybe she's right. So really think about that. And I want you to think about what stress and anxious feelings do you not want to take into the next chapter. So we're in a fortunate position, the 8th of November, 2021. Okay, what have we got? 30 to about 50, couple of days, 53 days to the end of the year. Don't quote me on that. I was just trying to do it. Did you see the cogs moving in my head? 50 odd days until the end of the year. So how are we going to spend that time? And on day 4, I'm going to talk about intentional living. How are we going to intentionally wake up each and every day for the next 53 days, knowing that when we start 2022, it's a new chapter, it's a new book. I get a new diary at the start of every year. So what am I not taking into that diary that is existing now? We're not taking the notes. We're not taking the chaos. Maybe we don't want to take the routine and the rigidness anymore. We don't want to take over planning. We're missing out on fun. Does anyone else feel like they want to be spontaneous? I don't know if it's a lockdown thing. I want to be fun. I want to be spontaneous. I don't want to be so rigid. I don't want to have dinner on the table at 6 every night. I want to be a rebel and do it at 7. So what if the kids are up a little bit late? Okay, think about what you're not taking into, because the energy, your focus, your posture, what you take in at the start of next year is going to really set the tone and your baseline. So right now we're drawing a line in the sand. Enough is enough. We know that everything under here has happened and we acknowledge it. We appreciate it. We're grateful for it because it's made us who we are today. But what's ahead requires a totally different queen, a luxuriousness that we have no idea how we're going to get there, but it starts by involving yourselves in groups. It involves ourselves in trainings and listening to people that are going to really richen our lives, open our hearts to perspective, that maybe I'm not the only one that feels like this. Okay, there's other people. I am a crazy hot mess. There is nothing that you cannot do that I haven't done. Nothing that I have done you cannot do yourself. I've just got this determination to make sure that what I'm doing makes a difference, because I've worked in those jobs where I've rocked up at 7, left at 7, and no one said thanks. No one. So that's what my legacy for you is. Cheryl, exactly. No one does it. We're just a number. And we absorb that number, and we absorb that feeling. We become hidden. And we think maybe we're not good enough. Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm too old. Maybe I'm too young. Maybe I'm not tall enough. But let me tell you, that's their thoughts. And that's your head keeping you safe from trying something new.
Yeah.
I had never thought in a million years I would be the owner of 2 businesses, let alone doing anything like this in the world. I never thought I would have grown my network and approach coaches to help me, because I don't ask for help. But it's brave steps. Okay, and what we're doing is baby steps, because we're trying to recondition ourselves. We're trying to become someone totally new, and we've never been her before. And we're not always gentle with ourselves. We are our harshest critics. I am the harshest critic of myself. I always put too much pressure on myself. Same, Cheryl. It's exactly.
Yep.
I actually don't know me without that. It's true.
Absolutely understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's all perfectionist. It's that fear of disappointment.
Yeah.
I don't being rejected. I fear success. What if this actually works? Holy crap. What if I can pull all this off?
My fear is looking stupid in front of people.
Yeah, but who cares? We're all dags at one point or another.
But that's the way, like, growing up, that's what it was like, like you didn't step out of your comfort zone back when I was growing up. You sat back and when you were spoken to, you spoke, and then prior to that you just sat back and you said nothing.
Yep.
So it's sort of just embedded in me, I guess. And when I had to resign from my job nearly 2 years ago due to medical problems, that was it for me. I lost who I was. I just didn't know what I was going to do, because I worked with children for like 25 years, and I've gone from that being busy 5 days a week, and and then nothing, and now I've got nothing to occupy me, to keep me sane.
Yep.
And you
And
sit
then
there and you have all these thoughts go through your head, and you think, why am I thinking like that? And it's because you just lose yourself.
Yeah. And we've become so great at blending in.
Yeah.
We've become so great at doing things and becoming the most relied on person. We've set the bar so high, unachievably high, so that no one else can help us, so that we can criticize and say, look, I'll do a better job. Leave it with me. I was the best person at never, ever, ever saying no and saying, leave it with me. And then that person would walk off thinking, whew, I got one thing off my to-do list, and I look over and I've got 1,000,001 things.
Yeah.
So we're gonna change that, Cheryl, this week. I promise you, we are gonna change that thought pattern.
Beautiful.
And it's an evolving project, because every stage you level up at, something else comes in to trick you up. Yeah, you think, oh, I've gotten over that, and then something goes, oh, that doubt comes back. Are you sure you're good enough? I don't think you're good enough. And you just got to
get that right.
You got to get stronger at it. It's trust me, I've got some secrets to share tomorrow. It's going to be
awesome.
It's going to be awesome. And then forward from that, we're not brave. For me, I want to make sure that I'm living in alignment with what my kids are. So if my kids came to me and said, oh, I don't think I could do it, I'm like, come on, boys, suck it up. Be brave. Give it a go. What's the worst that could happen? Yet I don't live that same mantra. So I'm living in contradiction with my kids. My kids don't listen to me. They're 6 and 10 and they don't listen. I got no hope. They're going to be teenage boys that are 6 foot. I know it. But they watch what my body language is, and they watch how I am performing. And when I walk in and my posture is down and I am quiet, they are triggered and go, whoa, what's up? What am I doing with this? Right. So they sense energy, and I'm big on energy, huge. Starting to listen to myself now, because I'm trying to we're learning that we don't have to be friends with everybody. This world would be utterly boring if we were friends with everybody. Yeah. We just need to be brave and say, you're not my person, but my person's there. Okay, be really brave. My light just fell over. Be really brave. But that comes with a belief that your future version of you is so vivid in your mind. So I know when I stand at the fork in the road, left side, there's me in 5 years' time, and I'm colored in glorious, like a glow. It's almost like a music festival, Coachella. All my favorite people are there. This lightness is around. We are happy. We are calm, and we are centered. And then I look at the right side where we are right now, and I think, gosh, it's just this uninspiring. So my two options are I stay exactly where I am, or I just give it a go. And what if I take it by chance, and little by little, and I get closer to her? And I may not get there, but what if this happiness takes over? And I want to think about over the next few days, and those who are in this group, you'll know I talk about ripple effects a lot. I want you to write this down. I want you to think about your ripple effect. So your ripple effect is you throwing a stone in the creek, how wide your ripple effect goes. So there's you, your family, your friends, and your workplace. You, your friends, your family, your job, your business. And I want you to think about when you are happy and when you are positive, what is your ripple effect? That is your giving back. Okay, so our inherited stories, the way we are all brought up, the blending in, the not being seen, you're not allowed to talk, go into the kitchen, start doing this, make sure everyone's got a drink. They're the inherited stories we've carried that we need to let go. They're not our bags anymore. Open your eyes and see the world of possibility that we have right now. We have the chance to become anything we want. I can be an astronaut if I wanted to. I'm not, but I could. Wish I was a mermaid with a unicorn. And that's not going to happen. But really, we have the opportunity. We have technology in our fingertips to learn at any speed we like. This masterclass is going worldwide simply because we have technology. So who can we learn from? And I want you to think about your ripple effect. Because on the bad days, how does that affect your kids? And then how do your kids take that to theirs? And then how does that go out and out and out? That's who you're going to be known for. That's your legacy. So we're here to rewrite legacies. We're icons, we are queens, and we are here to create history because it is our chance to stop and break the chain right here, right now. Our enough is enough has started. Okay. Yep. I did a beautiful meditation probably about 3 months ago, and the only thing that stuck in my mind was, I am the bloodline my ancestors have been waiting for. So my generations of migration and immigrants and working really hard have formed who I am. I have brilliant work ethic, but I don't appreciate my progress because I wasn't taught how to. So now we need to teach ourselves that we are great. Look at what we achieved today. And if we didn't do what we want to do, we don't beat ourselves up about it. Okay. So I want to have a chat, last few questions. Oh, it's 8:30. Told you I'd go a little over today because it's so much passion. So it's about bravely speaking your truth. And it's really difficult. If you are an introvert like me, you prefer blending in. You prefer spreadsheets in the background. You prefer someone taking your work, presenting it, and sitting resentfully as to why you weren't acknowledged. You have a massive fear of disappointment. Okay, and you do over and above, and you do too much the opposite way. You're so worried about people being disappointed in you, you continually put yourself last. You are so worried, and how this shows up is that you don't speak your truth, because before you've got this feeling in your gut, yep, I'm going to get myself revved up to say something. Your head takes over and go, yeah, but they're going to think you're stupid. They're going to kick you out of the tribe. You're not going to have a job. You're not going to be able to earn money. You're not going to be able to look after your family. Your brain takes over and creates a mountain out of a tiny little molehill, all because it wants to keep you safe, which is fantastic. Except we're not in caveman times. We are in 2021. We don't have saber-toothed tigers chasing us. We don't have to scavenge for food. We don't need to be in a tribe of people we don't like just to keep safe. We are strong, independent women. Okay, and we are worthy of everything we have worked for. But we don't need to do it on our own. Okay, fear of disappointment is going to hold you back in many, many, many more ways than you can ever imagine. In my Breaking Up with Being Busy 6-week course, we dedicate a whole module to this, a whole week where I let you in on my fears. You know, fear of success, fear of being seen, fear of disappointment, because they're my inherited stories. They're the stuff that I fought and I battled between my head and my heart constantly, because I want the gold star. I want you've done a good job. I'm a good girl. I want that. That's what I was raised to do. So I'd rush through just so I could finish first, but I would be devastated because I would be incorrect on so many levels. Okay. But if we speak our boundaries and we are not guilty about that, something happens in us. And it starts, if we've got 100 people, we start to whittle away that 100. And perhaps we only really need 5. But we're so busy making sure the 100 are okay that our 5 in a circle are drowning. They're our cheerleaders. They're the ones that are going to hold us, that have our back, that are going to give us the shoulders to cry on the days where we just can't do it. But we're so busy keeping everyone happy that we're not seeing those people. All right. I really want you to bring awareness to your inner circle. Your inner circle is your tribe. They are often people. I have 5 in mine, 3 of which I pay money to. I do. They're my coaches. They're my health professionals that help my mental health stay on track. They're the ones that tell me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. I want to hear I'm doing a great job. My trainer turns around and says, you can do better. I don't want to hear that. But I pay money to, because I know where I am going is so much more important and beneficial to me and my family and my community and my clients and my audience than anything else. Okay. And then I have my best friend, okay, and my husband in there too. Because I've been with the beautiful man for over 20 years and we've grown up together. So he's my other half. Again, don't tell him. I don't want his ego to take over and think that I need him for that. So in light of all those people pleasing, and we've narrowed down those 100 now, I want you to ask you this question. If you could step away from people pleasing every single day as a habit, if you could leave that behind, what would that look like for you? Who could you really step into? And these are the questions that are in the workbook. So if I'm talking a little bit fast, I apologize, but they're all on pages 1, 2, and 3, or 1, 2. All right. And really go through. And when you answer these questions, don't answer them as something, as a response that I'm looking for. Answer them in if you can be really, really vulnerable and really sink into it and answer it from a place. There's no wrong answer. Okay. So for me, if I could step away from people pleasing and I could honor myself with grace and style and warmth, it means I can stand here and I'm okay if I've got no one to stand beside me. I'm okay if I think 100 people are laughing at me because I'm a life coach and everyone else is a life coach. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with people thinking what I do is a joke, because our inherited stories, our generational stories are you need to work 9 to 5 in a house and a business. I'm okay with that, because what I am impacting and how I am helping women, the messages, the help that I get to see, the business, the success I get to see them with, far outweighs any of the judgment that I'm feeling. Because these are the people judging me don't have what I want, don't have what I have, and are usually men and not for women. So they've got no idea the stuff that's gone on here. And in here, raising kids, trying to work full time, put dinner on the table and get these kids into bed by a certain time. Okay, they're not my people. I'm strong and I am really strict on who I let into my circle. And ladies, if you're in my Facebook group and you know me, you're going to know I'm really, really tough on who I let in. Okay, and everyone gets a different version of me. So I'm an onion. And what I'm presenting here is I'm the complete opposite. In the middle of the onion, where my closest people see, I'm not always this.
The layer comes off separately.
It does. And it's trust. I have to know that you're my people. I will give you everything. But if you're not my people, I'm not going to give it to you, because I've been burnt in the past. Yeah. We've all been burnt, haven't we? So really think about who you're letting in. What stance you're going to have. How are you going to walk? What would that mean? Your posture. Imagine working, and this is what I want you to imagine as we go through this week as well, as we wrap up. Imagine over these 9 days, you don't tell a soul what you're working on. Don't tell anyone. Secret. And you go, oh, I like what she said here. The question in the workbook was amazing. I might implement that tomorrow and see. And then the next week you become intentional. Day 5, we're going to talk about intentions. How are we showing up every day intentionally and on purpose? And someone goes, hey, Cheryl, what have you been up to? What are you doing? You're different. You're standing, you're taller, but you've not grown. Okay, you look different. You're smiling. You're happy to have a chat. You're not rushing. Imagine what that would do to your confidence. Imagine what that would do to your soul. You are finally being seen. You're not a wife. You're not a mum. You're not a worker. You are finally getting seen as the soul and your essence of who you are. Yeah. So maybe do that as a challenge. Love for you to post on your stories, but make this a secret. Secretly work underway. What would that do? And who would notice first? Probably not our husbands or our partners.
Or our kids.
Okay, but what if it was a dead stranger you haven't seen in a while and they're inspired by you? They go, geez, what have you been doing? You sound different. Your language changes. And instead of saying, oh, what, really? You own it. You say thank you, and that is it. Thank you, full stop. No buts. Okay, imagine what that would do. So that is my mission. That is my goal for you over these next 9 days, is to really get sunken into it. I want you to go from sitting back going, I don't know if this is for me, to really going, what if I can? And if I can do that, And if Claire can do it and she's got kids, well, I've got kids too. And if she's managed to do that, what would I be able to do? And what would that mean for my kids if I was present? And what would that mean to my partner if I was more passionate? And by passionate, I mean you listen. Your body language leans in. You turn to them and you're looking at them. You don't speak. My good friend Jodie Spinks is in this group. 2 ears, 1 mouth for a reason. You listen intently and you notice them. And what if you started to appreciate instead of expect? What would that do? Because they're simple creatures, our families, and I've got boys. We all want the same thing. We just want love, we want respect, and we want attention. But if we're not giving that out to the world, we cannot expect it to come back. Okay, so really think about that. Because the work starts with us, and it starts with us opening our chest a little bit more, sitting back a little bit more, opening our heart, speaking with conviction, asking for help, setting a boundary. You don't get to speak to me like that anymore. If they arc up, woohoo, game on. You tell them why you're not going to be spoken to anymore. I don't put up with crap. I never have. That's why I got to the top of I was the only, listen to this, over my 20-year corporate career, I sat on the leadership team for a major Aussie retailer, and I had never gone to uni. Barely finished year 12. Because I worked my ass off every single step of the way. My people pleasing and my fear of disappointment got me there. But my work ethic too. Okay. And I don't put up with stuff. I don't take no for an answer, and I don't let people walk all over me because my boundaries are so secure. Because 3 things. I know where I don't want to be. I know what I don't want to feel. And the vision of who I am in 5 years' time is vivid. It's like a Picasso. It's color. I can't let her down. I can see what she's got. Mate, I'm going to need a bigger wardrobe to get what I've got, right? We are worthy. Don't let anyone take that away from you whatsoever. Okay? Never, ever, ever let anyone take that doubt away from you. And if they do take it away, they're not your people. Not your people. I'm sorry. Next. So let me know in the comments if there has been any light bulb moments. I will come back and check them all out. I'm conscious I've taken up 43 minutes of your time, but I want to give you a little wrap up of tomorrow. Okay, we're going to go through a chaos story. So as mums, we are constantly on the go. Okay, we are constantly thinking 10 steps ahead. We're going to talk about breaking that story down, breaking out with that chaos that we have so that we can sit back and go, God, my kids are amazing. Gosh, look how good my husband looks today, because we don't see that stuff. So that's for tomorrow. All right, we're going to really talk about bravery over confidence. I'm going to get in depth about that too. All right, so tomorrow my aim is to bring awareness to our environments. What are we missing out on because we're glossing over everything? Okay, I want you to you're going to get sucked into that. We're going to sink into that, and then we're going to take some habits away. We're going to start learning to trust our guts and our hearts over our heads. So I trust that everyone has loved that information. Thank you for joining me, Julie, Crystal, and Cheryl in our Zoom room. Everyone on Facebook, thank you very, very much. I trust this has been amazing. Please let me know in the comments. If you have any questions, drop them in the group, email me, whatever is easier, message me. I'm more than happy to message out. But I trust that has been a great introduction to what these 9 days are going to be. And I look forward to coming to you tomorrow. All right, we're going to break up with being that yes girl. If you're tired of being the yes girl, the relied on girl, you need to rock up tomorrow. I'm going to give you some tips on how to get over that. Have an awesome Monday night, everybody. Much love. Stay safe. And I will see your beautiful faces tomorrow at 8. Much love. See you guys.